How are you?
Good, man. Welcome to Core 4 Brewing.
It's good to be here.
I'm sure glad to have you out.
Thanks,
Serving you up our Soulshine today. That is a blonde ale. Sits about 6.4%. It's got Tettnang and Cascade hops. It's a smooth, well-balanced, just light, nice, drinkable beer.
And that's what I'm looking for, especially as we're getting hotter right now, season, things like that. When I play gigs, the one thing I just need is something easy to drink. And this is certainly easy.
Dude, that is the perfect summertime beer. Sitting by the pool, hanging out in the patio, listening to live music. That is the right beer for you, man. I guarantee
I love it. I'm already fit in. Yeah. So, man, what's going on?
Cool, man. Let's talk about you. You're
Okay.
here. You're gonna play some songs for us, man, and I want to learn a little bit about you.
Hello, my name is Adam Miller, and this is Microbrewery Sessions. First song I'm going to play is called The Songwriter. So sit down and listen up your ear. Comes another song driven out from the fair. Watching day past the night and wonder, when I die will these songs still be sung? And when grave thought I choose the chords I play, I swear sometimes they all start to sound the same. And for the few that will go on to make, the others stay behind and wait for the song. Pick a man to play, like the light from the sun. I don't mean any harm to anyone, and I'm just trying to brighten up your day. Well, I swear I'll change, I'll accept you anyhow or anyway in a lifetime. Having fun. Oh, these wind dusted old long days. The people we love and know they have to go, they cannot stay. And in our voices we hold memories past, and on our souls we're forever last in the song that we made. In my dreams we are always born again. Sometimes we run the race that we never truly will. By that we is keeping score. Till then, take on another chore just to get by and pay the bills. Like the light from the sun, I don't mean any harm to anyone, and I'm just trying to brighten up your day. Well, I swear change, I'll accept you anyhow or anyway in a lifetime. Having fun, and I have so much to give from the people I've never met. And probably, yeah, I never will. And I'll share the ones I know, make their songs our own, and we'll sing for them tonight. Oh, tonight. Oh, a daydream, it seems this song is big. Go to work tomorrow, we'll live it all again. So I don't see the wall next starry night, sitting back by the firelight. Do we have to part again? Like the light from the sun, I don't mean any harm to anyone, and I'm just trying to brighten up your day. Well, I swear change, I'll accept you any hour, anyway in a lifetime.
So let's start with you. Tell me about yourself and what first got you into music.
You got it, man. I was born and raised in Indian, Oklahoma. Lived in Oklahoma City. Lived a brief part of my life in Portland, Oregon for a bit. And came on back. But growing up in it, my folks were really always pushing a little bit of music, a little piano or something on there, and it was always something easy that I really identified with. So something I was able to get a hold on and get a lot of momentum from, a lot of good support, but a lot of good friends too.
Nice. What first got you into music?
All sorts of things. I started piano when I was young, but then, all sorts of music starts coming down the pipe. And I'm a really eclectic guy. Like anything from, these Broadway musicals I grew up on to, all the way to Smashing Pumpkins, which is a big alternative band. I'm a big fan of the eclecticness of that group as well. So it's something that all over the place, absolutely.
Well, tell me about the music that you create.
Okay. Well, in this region, it's very popular, and it's something that's I grew up around with the Woody Guthrie ethos, and writing songs and being a songwriter is big around here. It's something I truly locked on to. So the music I make, and right now is specifically, or when I've released on this EP lately, has become more of a singer-songwriter specifically. That's where we're telling stories, or perhaps our lyric value might even be stronger than our melodic value, but all together it really creates a good piece of art. And so right now, Oklahoma's really, or has always been an easy place to cultivate that kind of style of music.
Man, that's awesome. So tell me about your creative process. What's it like, and what do you go through?
And a lot of times, it's every day it's getting up, and as doing music full time, or at least 100% of my income and my schedule for that and things like that really produces a lot of fun, musings, if you will, for that. It creates a lot of opportunities to look at that. There's times I've been kind of either pulled for work or certain things like that, and jobs I've either created or had to maintain, during different times. And so the workflow now is what's really great, is that my life is a lot more of the story than me trying to imagine what it was when I was at work and stuff. And so making that commitment to it has really opened up a lot. Sitting at home, creative process, man, all the time. And as we talked about, my influence is pretty wide open, and I love to be able to kind of like say, what's the flavor of the day? Hopefully I'm not under any kind of time limit to create something I'm supposed to be creating. Open creativity is my favorite, but there is a time to get some kind of work done and shelve that down. So yeah, I sit at home, play those songs over and over again, look at the notebook, and try to recount some experiences I thought may have been funny from traveling around, or made me feel good.
So we kind of talked about like your influences being like Queen and the Smashing Pumpkins.
Sure.
Is those probably who inspired you the most, or was there a musician that just inspired you more than any?
I think, and it's weird to say for the Americana, like I said, music I play right now, and really front, and this region is very healthy for that kind of music. However, I will say Billy Corgan was of the Smashing Pumpkins, a huge influence in the fact of, hey, sonically it was great and I enjoyed those albums is one thing, but as an artist and representing yourself and believing in yourself, whether your sound may not be mainstream, may not be just the most popular or low-hanging fruit, something that you may be able to, I can play this and I know I can hit it out of the park, but artistically I know I can work for this and feel more accomplished this way. And I think that's something he really at least translated to me as I growing up and watching him. It's like, man, it's how to be an artist. Not necessarily I'm trying to be like or make music like that, which I think would be pretty darn hard since it changes all the time, but specifically how I represent myself in my art. To not like him, be yourself, and it's something he's always put forward, I think. So that's something I always remind myself.
So that kind of moves me into my next question. Like, if you could pick anyone to collaborate with, would it be Billy Corgan?
Probably not. No, because we've all heard stories maybe how hard he is to work with or not. But I think it's just a hard work on one thing. No, it's not. I like the thing where we keep our influences and maybe our higher influences at a big distance. We don't need to change any of the demographic of meeting somebody. I've come in contact with the gentleman quite a few times, and it was close enough for me to not shatter my own ideals of that, especially growing up in a time before internet and getting these things and reading liner notes and really starting to take what they're selling you and trying to develop that artist mystique, which is something we may miss today. Maybe we're too close to our artists today. I don't know or not.
Very good point.
There's a lot of that, like you never knew what they really did. So.
This song is called My Darling Oklahoma. It's a love song great state of Oklahoma.
Well, that being said, I know you play all over the place.
Yeah.
All over Oklahoma, outside of Oklahoma.
A little bit.
I know you just played Mile Zero Fest in Key West, so tell me a little bit about that.
That was a great opportunity that came my way. Totally unexpected for the year 2020, and I feel great, very grateful and humble to be able to go to that festival, which is an Americana festival in Key West, Florida. Much bigger names than I am, and just a guy, a songwriter that gets to go. And my biggest favorite thing about being there is to be able to look behind stage and see other writers. And not only that, but professional setups and things like that, how they occur in those things. Mile Zero was beautiful, and getting lucky, I was able to go at the end of January, before we hit some interesting times with, of course, the COVID lockdown. So, there's a big group of us, and Oklahoma is something I always put out there as a core or a region for very strong songwriters. Musicians are one thing, but sitting at home and really creating a neat poetic compilation and songs and things like that is important. And there's a big group of us that went out and represented that. So I'm proud to be a part of that this last year.
Oh,
or
that's
2020.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And you deserve it, man. You're
I was
singer-songwriter.
very humbled to be a part of that. So
Cool. Well, speaking of that, you just put out a new EP.
yes, sir.
My Darling Oklahoma.
You got it.
Man,
So-
tell me about the album.
Absolutely. So this is based off, I'd lived in Portland, Oregon. I said that just a little earlier, I think. And so for about 3 or 4 years. And you never know what you got until you get away. And I always say, if you're from Oklahoma, born and raised here, get out. Go out and expand your mind and know how there's other societies that can live life and get along and learn how there's things that we weren't used to growing up. But come back is my other point. Come back and vote is a big thing, and be a voice of change here, and know that what always has been doesn't always have to be, and we can always evolve from that. So My Darling Oklahoma is just a big, as the title song is a love song, and follows also a few other things that were really memorable, and things that I held close when I was outside of the state of Oklahoma and returned to come back and kind of paint that picture, which is that EP, which pretty much is what that's about.
Beautiful. Where'd you record it at?
So even better, yeah, with the great Kyle Reed out of Norman, Oklahoma, at a place called Naptime Studios. No longer exists, but I can't put on a higher pedestal for the patience and the intelligence and just the creative amount that Kyle Reed, and somebody I'd love for you to have come and play some songs someday. And it's just a great gentleman, gets his hands in a lot of people's work in the best way. So couldn't put him on a higher pedestal. It's someone to work with.
Where can our viewers find the album?
Sure. You can find it on all streaming apps, Spotify, Apple's, iTunes. Come see me at a show. You can visit AdamMillerAlive.com, Facebook, Adam Miller Alive, or Instagram. A shameless self-promotion there. But so check that out on that. You can buy it there. You can download it, stream it, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'd love for you to come see me at a show, probably more than any time to come hear it, though.
I mean, live music. We've been missing it. I'm so
get
glad
any
it's
better.
back.
So we can do our best with Facebook Lives and everything, but there is nothing better than standing in front, responsibly, of course.
This last song is called Fence Post, and it's about a farm in Woodward, Oklahoma. In our breath, I was back to a farm that once sat across a dream that exists now only in memory. And I can still feel the wind like the hail from a friend, assuring me that's where exactly I'm supposed to be. And with all things put aside, life continues to be a fight to hold close to things we can lose so easily. Out of all this, we now know that we must learn to let go, continue to accept what's truly meant to be. Because one thing I've learned from this time in my life, that I now know, that memories are only fence posts passing by on the side of the road. memories are only fast passing by on the side of the road.
So, through all your travels, from growing up in Enid, Oklahoma, to moving to Portland, Oregon, traveling all over touring, in your childhood, all the above, tell me some of the best advice that you've ever been given.
Best advice, easy. Two things. One's from my folks, from my mother. There's always two sides to every story. And that couldn't be stated hard enough, and especially in today's times as we get perspectives from social media, from folks from generations past, from folks of new generations that are learning to find their own perspective today. There's always two sides to every story, and that's one of the biggest pieces of advice you can go on. And the second thing, as a great dear friend, especially in music, and Mr. Andy Adams' insight and mine. Show up to other people's shows, go be a part of the scene, but you know, everything in moderation. Doesn't mean you got to go crazy, but you know, being places means something. When you see somebody show up at your show or something like that is a big thing that I think is important, that makes you always feel good and maybe generate somebody that might come around and pay the favor.
Beautiful. So, what's next for you, man?
Man, we're on it, getting generated. Of course, we had a lockdown, but beyond that, as we generate our society back to maybe a new momentum, I'm glad to be a part of that, playing music, looking for amusing things to look around, which we're full and chock full more than ever, to be able to write about things that are happening here in our country specifically. But so yeah, just trying to fill our schedule back up. You know, can't wait to be here, and I'm going to be playing here soon and consume more of your great creations and see what's around the corner. I'm more excited to see people out in the street. Every familiar face is a significant homecoming right now.
I agree, and I appreciate it. The world is definitely full of new songs right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that being said, man, is there any last thing you'd like to say or any message you want to leave for anybody?
Absolutely, I appreciate you having me, number one, and otherwise, everybody just be the community you want to live in and represent that, you know, set examples and things like that. There's more that I could say, but it's been a pleasure talking to you tonight, bud.
That was great meeting you, man.
My pleasure. Anytime.